So you guys remember how last week I said that it was definitely going to pop off in the next episode? Well, I was right! But hello everybody! Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another one of our weekly Tensura Season 2 discussion videos. Today we're here to talk all about Episode 5, Prelude to the Disaster. But before we get into the video proper, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, and let all of AnyTube know that you're here. And without further ado, what do you say we go ahead and dig into this week's episode? Where to start? You know, the more I watch this show, the more I realize what like a big hype beast I can be for slime, because like when slime is fun, it's like really fun, right? Like we've talked about this. When slime is like in its like sort of like more chilled out slice of life vibe, it's fun. It's always fun. The show is consistently fun. But when stuff like this happens, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why this show is, you know, hype instead of just like fun slice of life stuff. Like, and I'm gonna start by talking about the three like isekai people, right? Like the three people who are like Rimuru. I don't know, like, well, like not quite exactly like one-to-one like Rimuru, but like, you know, like the three other isekai people. And yeah, not gonna lie, these people suck. Like I was like, man, these guys are terrible. They're awful people, awful. It's like they came out of like redo of Healer or like Shield Hero or something. Like just characters who are just like mean, like, you know what I mean? Like mean-spirited. It's like they walked out of one of those shows, just mean-spirited characters. Which is great because that's what we need right now. Like we need characters to be like, oh man, awful, right? Like I think we need another group of villains who aren't gonna get like redeemed, you know? Like we need characters who are just bad and need to get taken down. And I do think these three isekai characters are definitely going to be that. They're scumbags, like, through and through. The only one who I can see, like, maybe getting a redemption arc, maybe, is, like, the gray-haired guy. Like, maybe. But even then, I kind of doubt it, because he's also kind of scummy. But, like, the girl and the guy with, like, the black spiky hair, like, no. Like, they also feel like fodder to me. Like, the other two feel like they're just, like, evil and crazy, you know, whereas like the gray-haired guy actually seems like the character who the author really wants to focus on. Like he's the one who seems like he's gonna have depth, whereas the guy and the girl just kind of seem like jerks, especially the girl. Like of all characters, it had to be Gobzo, right? Like when she's like, okay, like we're gonna make it seem like one of the monsters attacked us and that'll give us the right to like attack back and we can start this like attack on Rimuru Tempest, right? Like, well, not like Rimuru himself, but like Tempest, like the Judo Federation, like the whole thing, like the whole Federation, like we can attack the village, right? If we explain that like one of the monsters attacked us, oh, they were evil monsters all along, right? And so the girl, and I didn't bother learning their names because screw them. No, I just forgot to write them down. But the girl basically attempts to make it look like Gobzo assaulted her. Like she's like, did you just grab my butt? And I'm like, Gobzo would never do that, right? Because like straight up Gobzo is too sweet and innocent. He would literally never do that. So like I thought that the whole town was gonna be like, this seems fishy, right? But then I forget that like not everyone in town knows Gobzo and Gobta like that, you know what I mean? Except they kind of do. Like, they sort of laugh about it later because, like, they end up realizing that the whole thing's ridiculous. But it's mostly because the girl has that, like, bewilder effect where she can sort of push people. It's sort of like... It's kind of like the one character from My Hero who can kind of push you into doing things, you know? Like, only she doesn't have to learn, like she doesn't have to like learn your tell or anything like that. Like she just can do that shit. Like she can just kind of push you into doing things. But it doesn't really work because again, it's Gobzo, right? And she even like makes it look like Gobzo pushes her, and I'm like, oh, girl, if you don't get your friggin' like mine from Shield Hero looking ass out of this town, like I was furious, right? Because I'm like, it's Gobzo, be nice to Gobzo. And of course, Gobta shows up, absolute #1 bro to the end of time. Just comes up and he's like, just apologize, Gobzo. Once they say that you did something, they're just gonna keep hammering it home. So I believe you and everyone else does too. And she's like, what? Like, you don't believe me? And he's like, well, yeah, he's only interested in Shion. And everybody knows it. And he's like, what do you mean everybody? And then the crowd laughs. So I'm like, okay, so if the crowd knew, like, again, I have to assume it's just her bewilder effect. But it's like, man, y'all, why would you ever distrust Gobzo? And then when she tries to make them all die, Shuna appears and says, like, yeah, you can't really pull that crap here. That doesn't work here. And then when that happens, the guy with the black spiky hair is like, oh yeah, we want to tussle? And I'm like, wow, what a meathead. And so Shion just steps up and's like, all right, if you want to throw down, I'll throw down too. And I'm like, oh, he about to get his ass kicked. Turns out no, because when the barrier goes up, we'll talk about that barrier in a sec, but when the barrier goes up, it sort of zaps Shion's energy, which is like, damn it. It does make me wonder how Gobzo and Gobta are doing against like the gray-haired guy, but yeah, the three isekai people, man, they suck. I was like so pissed with them, so salty. Great antagonists, right? Because you're like, oh, these guys, they really do feel like they walked out of a totally different isekai, right? So you're like, oh, I want to see them out of my wholesome ass isekai. I want them gone, removed, taken care of. Hey, as you can see, we are in the Wastelands, which, judging by Dragon Ball Z, can only mean one thing. We are about to scrap. Unless you hit that subscribe button. Thank you. And it's funny, too, because that girl is easily worst girl, right? Like, I think we can all agree that the isekai girl is easily worst girl in all of Tensura. However, it's funny when you put that next to Mulan, who is definitely, like, my girl will always be Shion. Like, that will always be, like, she my waifu, right? Like, she will always be top dog when it comes to the female characters, but, like, Mulan definitely make it a play for best girl, right? Like, Mulan and the whole thing with Yom. I'm gonna be honest, like, this show really plays to my, like, the things I want in a show, right? It's like, I like hype action, and I like shipping things. And yeah, Tensura got that in spades, right? Like, give me hype action. Doesn't necessarily have to be fighting, just like hype anything, you know? Like, just make it hype and give me shipping, and I'm there. And Tensura's like, tell you what, like, we haven't really given you shipping in this show. Well, kind of. Shizue and Rimuru kind of had a thing going. I think I just miss Shizue. If I'm honest, I'm just thinking of... I think about Shizue a lot. I don't mention her a lot just because I feel like I'm going to bum anybody out by bringing her up. But, yeah, like, I miss Shizue a lot. But, like, we never really had, like, a super solid ship, you know? So, Mulan and Yom are, like, the first, like, proper ship that I've seen. Like Rimuru and Shizue, I liked it, but I didn't, like, super hardcore shipped it. I just kind of saw them as, like, two people who were very close. Whereas Mulan and Yom, like, not only do I sense the romantic connection, like, in terms of, like, the general narrative, but you guys know, when it comes to shipping, that shit doesn't matter. Like, shipping does not require canon, right? Like, I do not care if it's canon or not. I care about whether or not I think they'd be a good couple, right? Just based off the interactions they've had, based off their personalities. And all of that together, not only, like, the canon stuff, plus their personalities and what I think of the two as a couple, Mulan and Yom are very good. Like, this is a very good ship. I will say it moved kind of fast. Like, to drop the L-bomb that quickly, I was like, whoa, not quite what I anticipated. I thought that would be, like, end of season at the minimum. Or, yeah, like, at the minimum, like, that the fastest would be maybe, like, the end of the season. But no, Tensura's like, nah, man, we got shit to do. we gotta wrap this up. So, yeah, Mulan and Yom, that whole thing was great. Grucius being there, too, I appreciate because, you know, they kind of have, like, a love rivalry thing. But the saddest thing in the world is that she's doing all this for Yom, right? And that scene of her, like activating the barrier, and the two of them, like Mulan, like, trying to, like, get to her to try to stop it, but they can't because it's Mulan, right? Like, they don't want to hurt her, but, like, at the same time, they don't know what to do now. So it's, like, that whole, like, you even see Grucius go for the dagger, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? Like, but at the same time, I'm like, you're in such a position where it's like, what do you, like, I don't know how to get out of that. Like, and it's sad. It's sad. It's sad. Can you tell that I really enjoyed this week's episode? Like, I was in it, man. Like as the episode carried on, I was like, you know, like, usually when I watch an episode, I'm sort of like, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm watching an episode of a show, if it's just kind of nice, I'm sort of, like, leaning back in my chair. I'm comfy, right? Like, I'm not really, like, too engrossed. I'm just sort of comfy. I watched, like a lot of shows like that. Most of Yuru Camp I watched, like, like all the way reclined, just enjoying myself, right? When a show gets hype and like really like intense and emotional, I am at the very edge of my seat, quite literally. My butt is positioned right at the very edge. I am like in the screen, you know, like that's how into it I will be if it's super hype. And I was like right, like my face might as well have been on top of the screen. Like I was just like, what is gonna happen? Because this episode was hype, man. Like, and the fact that it's Mulan too, like we know a Mulan, you know, like she's one of us. Like, so you hate seeing it come to this. And especially the fact that like Clayman is so evil, right? Like, so evil. Because he just like, it's the fact that it's Koyasu, I think. But like, it's the voice, his mannerisms, the way he's just like, it's just like everything about him is so like manipulative and cold, but Mulan knows it, but still wants to do it anyway because she wants a chance to be with Yom, and it's just so sad. Like it's such a good episode. And we even end the friggin' episode with like the barriers going up, and I don't even know like what the hell is gonna go down after that. Like I just, this episode was heat. Like what's going on with Millium, like and Eurazania? Like the Beast Kingdom, I don't remember what they're called. Like what's going on with Millium and the Beast Kingdom? You got both barriers. I don't even know what the other barrier does. I assume it keeps people in or out, right? Like it's just like a magic barrier, straight up barrier. And then the other one I think is like zapping magical energy. And it's like, this is, I think, the most dire I've seen Tempest look, right? Like this is the most dire I've seen the village look. And I am very concerned, very, very concerned, because like Rimuru is nowhere to be seen. My only gripe would be I don't want the show to job out all of our characters, right? Like especially like I don't want like Shion, Benimaru, all them, like Gobta. I don't want them to get jobbed out again. You know, like that to me is like not fun. I don't like when a show is just like all the good guys get their ass kicked until this character shows up. Like I could deal with it in like Dragon Ball because it's Goku and I like Goku. Not that I dislike Rimuru or anything. It's just like I kind of like that was like the 80s and the 90s. You know what I mean? Like I don't really like that anymore. Like that, like these days I feel like if you're going to have like this battle, you know, it should be a little bit more like you have like some of the bad guys win, some of the good guys win, right? Like don't job out. Like I feel like Shion's gonna get jobbed out because she got her magic stolen, right? So it's like, oh, like she could have kicked his ass, but she got her magic stolen. So like, nah, right? Like, so she loses, and it's like, yeah, but like that happens all the time. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, like I just don't like. Basically, what I'm saying is, I don't want Rimuru to just show up, destroy the barrier, walk in, kick everybody's ass, game over. You know, like thanks for playing, right? Like I want to see our squad. I want to see our squad show that the work that they've put in to be badasses themselves has not gone to waste. You know, like, I want to see Benimaru kick ass and get a big W, right? Like, I want to see Rigger. I want to see Rigger get a W. I doubt that's going to happen because my boy's become more of a diplomat. But you guys already know that I love Rigger, so I want my boy to get a W on the board. I want to see Gobta get a W, too. I want to see Hakuro get a W, and Yom. And all of those, like, I just want to see, like, some characters get a W. I want to see Shuna get a W somehow. Like, I want to see characters get wins on the board, you know, against some of these characters, right? I want to see some wins on the board. I don't necessarily need to see every character win. Like, I'm okay. Like, Shion, I've basically just accepted is going to get her ass kicked now that her power's been taken. But, like, I don't want to see our characters get jobbed out. I'm okay with some of them losing. I just really don't want all of them to lose and then Rimuru to come in for the big save, because it's like, nah. Like, that's too predictable. I don't really think they're going to go that way, but I hope that's not what happens. I really doubt it. But, like, the barrier setup is interesting, right? Like, I hope that it's going to take Rimuru some time to get through the barrier. You know, it's like, shit, right? He's going to have to, like, take some time, but then when he gets in, he sees, like, it's like an all-out fight going on inside, and yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely more excited than I am cautious, right? Like, I'm more like, I don't really think they're going to go in the direction where Rimuru just kicks everybody's ass and everybody else, like, all the heroes lose until Rimuru shows up and kicks everybody's ass. It's too Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball. Don't take that as an insult, but, like, I don't think the show's going to go that direction. So I'm okay with where we are now. And with that said, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to poop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, and let all of AniTube know that you're here. And of course, before we go, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names. And hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button. That gets you a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen here. Or you can go ahead and check out that Patreon link in the description. Either way, it is super appreciated. So, once again, a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron, and that is it for today's video. So, until next time, everybody, you stay classy, and you wash your dang hands.